Take that! Oh, I almost got him in the face. All right, now you obviously, to be fair, you should get a return volley. So I will accept whatever you have to dish out if he's ready.
Thy face is not worthy of sunburn.
My face is not worthy of sunburning? Oh, you put me to the quick. 'Tis well I have weather like this then, on this day. What have you?
Your ability to do infant-like for doing much alone.
Oh! Obviously my work with the catapult proves that to be true. I can take it.
More of your conversation would affect my brain.
More of my conversation would affect his brain. This is horrid. All right, zombie.
Out of my sight thou dost infect my eyes.
That's bad coming from a zombie. What have you, sir?
Actually, it should have been meant for Granny. Your brain is as dry as a remainder biscuit after voyage.
My brain is as dry as the remainder biscuit after voyage. Oh, you have all cut me to the quick. If you'd like, I could give you the whole set if you'd like to go through and some out. Well, all I really had to do was pretend to attack a castle. So could you say I have accomplished that?
I think so.
All right, as well. So what is next on our lovely list of things a minstrel should do?
Imitate the songs of birds and train donkeys to perform.
Imitate the songs of birds and train donkeys to perform. So, bird song. Let's see. I think I can do a kernel. Ooh, I blame the wind. That sounds like a cardinal very far away. Aye. So training donkeys. I know a thing or two about training donkeys. You see, once upon a time, I did have the good fortune to go to Greece. And there I was with my companions in a town called Santorini. And it was on top of a very tall cliff overlooking the sea. And we were up there on top of this very tall cliff and we wanted to get down into the bay back to our boat. Now there were a few options. One was to go down the very, very, very many stairs, or you could ride on a trained donkey. We thought this sounded like a most wonderful option. So we got in line for the trained donkeys. And while we were in line, we heard a commotion from behind us in the crowd. And we looked, and lo, there was a trained donkey running through the crowd, trailing a loose rope going hee-haw, hee-haw, hee-haw. And following the trained donkey was the trainer, I can only assume, also waving a rope and yelling things in Greek. So that is how you train donkeys, I do believe. Needless to say, we did not take the trained donkeys down the road. But, does anyone here speak Greek? Oh, good, so you'll know my pronunciation is perfect. So the way you say stop donkey in Greek is this. Stamatiste gaidaro. So that's all I need to know to train a donkey. So, what's next?
Balance apples on the points of knives.
Balance apples on the points. What a coincidence! I just so happen to have in my basket here a knife and an apple. This is something obviously a minstrel should be able to do because, you know, entertaining. So, balancing apples on the points of knives. All right, 13th century drum roll, please. Oh, one finger, one finger. Am I not amazing? Oh, I can also make birds and train donkeys, so I'm doing this. Stasi gaidoro! Stamatiste gaidoro! You did not know when you came to the Renaissance Fair that you would see somebody doing a period documentable performance of balancing an apple on a knife and the other a donkey. Now you have seen something you had not seen before, I believe. So what have we next?
Tell the story of Troy.
Tell the story of Troy. So, once upon a time, there was this land of Troy. And in it lived Priam and his sons Hector and Paris. Now, Zeus, the king of the gods, decided that he would have a contest. And he wanted to know who was the most beautiful of the goddesses. But he was not willing to judge this himself because he just said, I am not good with commitment. So, you there, Paris, you little upstart mortal prince, you decide who's the most beautiful of the goddesses. no pressure. So Aphrodite comes down and she says, Paris, if you pick me as the most beautiful, you could have the most beautiful woman in the world. To which Paris said, you're on, Aphrodite, you are the most beautiful. So Paris gets the most beautiful woman in the world, who is, of course, Helen of Sparta. Unfortunately, she's married. Unfortunately, she's way over in Sparta. And unfortunately, Paris doesn't care. So Paris and his crew go on a diplomatic mission over to Sparta. And when they're done talking to King Menelaus and his wife Helen, they go back to Troy and they sneak Helen on the boat with them. King Menelaus notices at some point that his wife is missing and puts two and two together. So he goes on a diplomatic mission over to Troy and says, if you give me back my wife, we will avoid any shenanigans. So King Priam has a little huddle with Hector and Paris. So, all right, guys, here's the deal. King Menelaus wants his wife back. What do you think? Paris says, oh, no way, man. She is beautiful. Besides, Aphrodite said I could have her. We're keeping her. Hector says, yeah, she's nice, you know. She's witty. She's cute. She's kind of fun to have around. I say let's keep her. So King Priam says, all right, we choose violence. So Menelaus goes back to Sparta. Now, everybody wants Helen, as you know. When Menelaus was courting her along with lots of other guys, they made an agreement that whoever won could marry Helen, and whoever lost would come to the military aid of the husband if Helen were ever abducted. Guess what? She's been abducted. So Menelaus goes up to all of these former suitors and says, hey, losers, go get your 1,000 ships. So they sail their ships on over to Troy. They lay siege. However, Troy is a giant walled city much like this. Big doors closed. They cannot get in. What are they going to do? Well, one guy says, guys, I got it. We'll build this giant wooden horse, and a bunch of us will get in it, and the rest of us will pretend like we're leaving. And we'll give it to them, and they'll take the horse into their city, and then we'll all jump out in the middle of the night. And everyone else said, yeah, that's a great idea. I love it. I'm excited to be part of it. Let's do it. So they built this great big wooden horse, and a bunch of the good soldiers sneak in the side. They get in the horse. And a bunch of other soldiers go hide in the bushes. And a bunch of other soldiers get in their boats and pretend like they're leaving. Bye. And then they say, Troy, you have won. We give you this horse. As a token of your wonderful victory, you can take it and you can come invade Greece anytime you want. And then they left. Now the Trojans are looking at this big horse, and everybody said, whoo, that's awesome. What a great gift. Except one guy, this one priest, was suspicious. He said, this seems awfully fishy to me. And he took a spear and he hurled it at the horse. Now you'd think that the spear would stab somebody inside and kind of give the whole thing away. That's not what happened. What happened was a giant sea monster came out of the ocean, ate the priest and his two sons. Of course. So the Trojans took the horse into their city, and the rest is history. Everybody jumped out in the middle of the night. Priam died, Hector died, Paris died, everybody died. Helen lived. Some stories say that she got back with her husband. Some stories say that she went to marry the younger prince and got him killed too. Some stories say she went up to Mount Olympus and probably caused trouble there. Who knows? The rest of the Trojans, because they had been defeated, they had to do the walk of shame out to their own boats and get in their boats and sail away. And then they thought, ooh, you know what? While we're at it, let's conquer Italy. But they couldn't, because Juno, one of the goddesses, who had not been picked as the most beautiful back in chapter 1, was still mad about that. And she caused a giant storm to happen, and they got wrecked on the coast of Africa. And that is the story of Troy. Thank you.